Hey everybody, Steve Bourie here from AmericanCasinoGuidebook.com. Joining me today is one of our special guests from the Las Vegas Advisor newsletter, Anthony Curtis, and also my son, Matt Bourie.
How's it going, everybody? And as always, we have Anthony on here to tell us about all the goings on in Las Vegas. How's it going, Anthony?
Going good. Starting to get hot. We're looking at 105 today and 106 tomorrow and 107 the next day. So here we go.
Ooh, I feel better with it only being 95 down here.
Yeah, but you guys, you guys like being in a sauna, right? It's a little bit.
All right, so we're going to just hop right into things here. We're going to go with the first question. How is business? I saw the U.S. casinos had the best month ever in March. They had $5.3 billion in winnings. How's everything else going in Vegas? Is that applying out there, I'm sure?
Pretty much. I mean, whatever you see nationally, Vegas is going to be pretty much in lockstep with that. Casinos continue. I mean, this has been overriding theme every time I've been on with you guys for the past year and a half or so since everything reopened is people coming back with a vengeance, and that's still going on. So yeah, the casinos are still doing well. That's still kind of a net negative for the customer because they're tighter all the way around. We're also feeling the inflationary effects where prices are going up. So you kind of wonder how long it can be sustained. I don't think for that much longer, but for right now, they're going great guns. They still are.
Well, now it's interesting because what I've seen is all of the public casino companies like Stations and MGM and Caesars, they're all gung-ho, full speed ahead saying, there's nothing's wrong. Everything's sunshine and rainbows. And then one of the few public or private companies that doesn't have to worry about their share price going down if they share bad news is the Seminoles and the Hard Rock. And I saw their CEO the other day was saying, we're already starting to see stuff tightening up from inflation and saying possible recession. And I know that I just thought that was weird that all the public companies that are saying sunshine and rainbows, and then the one big private company is saying pretty much the exact opposite. You think we're going to start seeing more deals? Because I know that's been the last few months we've been talking about how there's no deals. Yeah. As things start to tighten up, you think there's going to be more deals?
Well, I think it's inevitable. I mean, one's going to lead to the other, and diminished business is going to lead to more promotion. The funny thing about it is they have publicly said, I mean, Boyd and Station, I mean, they're brutal. These two locals companies that used to be the best are literally saying on the record, we're never going back to where we were. We're never going to give things away like we used to. We're never going to bring the buffets back, all of this crap. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens when people start, breaking down the doors to get in. And I think it's inevitable. Like you said with the Seminoles, response. Everybody's seeing it now. And it's what can you do? The energy prices are up. It costs to drive here. It costs to fly here. The prices are going up on everything. People aren't going to continue doing it. And there's going to be a change pretty quickly, I think.
I had a trip planned in July. I have concert tickets. I might not even come because it was like $500, $600 a person to fly to Vegas. That's unheard of right now.
Yeah, it's not sustainable. And so, we're gonna see what's going to happen. And it's too bad the reason for it that everybody's being hurt, in the economy in general, but it's going to have an effect on what people do with their discretionary dollars when they don't have discretionary dollars anymore, or at least nowhere near as much. So, we'll see.
I have a friend that's out there. He and his wife are out there for the World Series of Poker, which I wanted to ask you about. But she was saying that it's very expensive. It's gotten a lot more expensive, and they weren't going out to eat because they had a family there, so they would go and they'd buy food and they'd take it home and cook it, to try and save money because everything was a lot more expensive. So those are people who lived in Las Vegas before and traveled to Las Vegas a lot, and they noticed it was a lot more expensive. But let me ask about the World Series of Poker, because he went there to play in this. So how, and that's still at the Rio, or they moved it to the Bally's, which is going to become the Horseshoe?
Yeah, they made the move. So, after I think it was 17 years at the Rio and another 35 or so before that downtown at the Horseshoe, they made the move for the first time ever to the Strip. And they are running it concurrently at Bally's and Paris. And Bally's by now is supposed to have changed over to the Horseshoe. That was the whole idea. It's going to be Horseshoe Las Vegas is going to be the new name of Bally's. And that was supposed to have happened by now, but it didn't even get close. Obviously they wanted to have that name change run at the same time as the World Series, debuted there, and it didn't happen. And we got some information that we put in the last Las Vegas Advisor that they are not even close, because there are a bunch of permissions they have to get, variances, things like that they have to apply for. And apparently they've only applied for one. They haven't gotten any. They need a bunch. And so we're looking at quite a while, I think, before that name change to Horseshoe. But the World Series itself is going strong. And I hear that the same thing that we're talking about everything else. I hear the numbers are way up. I hear that people are playing like crazy.
And then the finals are not until July, the start of the final.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that, what they only hear about is the main event. And that's where, as you're referring to as the finals, it's kind of known as the World Championship or the main event. And the reason is there are like 88 or 90 events, all kinds of different events that run anywhere from a $400 buy-in up to a $250,000 buy-in is the biggest one this year.
Wow.
I mean, $250,000 to get a seat. There's only going to be 30 or 40 people playing that only, right? And, and these events run every day. A new one or two starts every day and runs all the way through June. And then the main event, that one tournament that names the World Series, the world champion, begins on July 3rd and will run through July 16th.
And is that still a $10,000 buy-in like it used to be?
Yeah, that's the traditional 10,000. That's never changed. They probably won't change that. They have other ones, like for instance, the Poker Players Championship is $50,000 buy-in, and that's considered one of the most prestigious ones. But the most prestigious is the World Championship. Always has been 10,000 since the start, and still is, and probably always will be.
And now I have a note here that Dad, one of our friends, was complaining about the games getting worse with 000 spreading and 6-5 spreading. Was that where was he talking about that?
He was talking about all along the strip. I was surprised you said that. But he said it's getting worse, and those bad games are spreading along the strip.
Oh yeah, dig, gouge, man. That's what they're doing everywhere they can. Pretty bad schedules in video poker for the most part. 000 roulette showing up, but what are you going to do, guys? They put a 000 roulette here with a $15 minimum, and they put a 000 roulette right next to it with a $15 minimum, and there's 3 on each. 3 people at this one and 3 people at that one, with 6 MCs.
Why not? I do the same thing.
Yeah, if they're idiots and they're going to pay it, they're going to go from 5.26 to 7.89. They're going to pay it. Okay, well, I'll take it, right? If I got 2 books of it, if I got the same book side by side, and one of them's 10 and the other's 15, and they want to pay me 15, I'll sell it to them all day long, right?
Yeah. I always made the comparison with the roulette and say, well, there's 2 lines leading to the same buffet, and one side it's $15, and the other line it's $10. Which one would you rather pay? Yeah. So I give that analogy for games that have higher house edges.
Never once have I been in a busy casino. By busy, I mean, it's in the evening and there's people at all the games where there haven't been equal numbers at a double and a 000 with open seats. Never once have I seen everybody on 000 saying, "Fooey, I'm not playing triple." So, of course they're going to keep doing it. Now, the Palms, I assume you guys want to talk a little bit about the Palms. Sure. They've opened with some really good games. I mean, they don't have any 000. They don't have any 6-5 blackjack. So, good for them.
Mm-hmm. Now, I was going to ask on the 000 machines, are they still hiding that 000? Because I know when I first came out there, the last time I was in Vegas, it was in the Vegas nights were still new, and that seemed to be the thing, is they had the table, the 000. It was a 000 table, but they had 0, 00, and then the 000 was just like a Vegas nights logo or the casino logo or something like that. Are they still hiding that, or have they just straight up come out and put 3 zeros on the table?
They're doing both. Some just put it on the table now, and others, Sands was the first one to do that, and they had the 0, the 00, and Sands. Like, oh boy,
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, it was when I was when I was going to G2E and I was walking through the casino. I remember seeing that.
Absurd, man. But no, they don't. People just don't know the difference, and they're pretty brazen about it now.
Now, MGM completed they didn't buy the Cosmo, right? They've just taken over the operations of their casino, I think, right?
Yeah, it's like a management, you could call it a management contract, but it's a little deeper than that. There's really sort of a modicum of ownership there, where they are running the casinos, and they take all the proceeds and the profits. So it's not like they're being paid a management fee. They're literally, they own the concession, and maybe is the best way to put it. And the real estate underneath it, the building, the real estate is owned by a REIT, a real estate investment trust, or a consortium of REITs. It gets more and more complicated, what they do for their books. But for all intents and purposes, the Cosmopolitan is now an MGM Resorts property.
Now, what about the Players Club there? Did that change, or
Not
it's still
yet.
the same?
No, it's still, it's the Identity Club at Cosmopolitan, and it's still the Identity Club. So everything is the same. Cosmo has their own parking, they have their own paid parking structure and fees. They have their own slot card. Not a thing has changed, not a restaurant has changed, nothing at all, but it will eventually. Eventually, it will all be absorbed into the MGM Resorts, processes, and, everything will go to a M Life card and that sort of thing eventually.
Oh, okay.
So then now, I guess, anything, that's good that the Palms has good games. Anything else going on there? I know when you and I last spoke, you had said that pretty much everything almost looked identical, which is good because as long as the games are staying identical, they always had great games there. But restaurants, buffet, everything's still all the pretty much the same as it was before?
Yeah, almost everything's the same. The only thing that's different at the Palms is they had the one great restaurant, whether it was Nove or whatever, what was it called, Elisa or something like that, at the top of the Fantasy Tower, and that whole Fantasy Tower is still closed. But the regular Palms is open. It was very busy over Memorial Day weekend. The games are, like I said, they've got some good blackjack games, about a 0.45% casino edge. They got good 6-deck games with double after split, late surrender, resplit aces, this sort of thing.
Oh, wow.
They've got a double deck game with all of those rules. Dealer stands on soft 17 that has a 0.8% casino edge, 0.8. So less than 1/10 of 1%.
You mean
It's a
0.08?
It's $100 minimum to play it, but they do have that double decker in there. So they've got some good ones. Not a single 6 to 5 on naturals in the joint. They all pay 3 to 2. The buffet is outstanding, and everybody was we did on our YouTube channel. Well, I know you guys will plug it at the end. We went to that buffet and reviewed it, and a lot of people. We went to the breakfast buffet, and a lot of people. It was $24.99, no discount for a club card, and everyone's going $24.99 for breakfast. That's absurd, but it's not breakfast. It's brunch. I mean, it's a brunch all the way with carving stations and everything else. And it is outstanding. It is one of the best buffets for the price in Vegas for $24.99. Now, they also have this Lobster Buffet on Thursdays, which is an absolute train wreck to try to get into. I mean, you're talking 4 and 5 hour waits for this thing.
Wow.
The buffet looks great from what I've seen, but I ain't waiting, 4 hours, so I haven't tried it yet. It's $64.90. It's $65 for that buffet, and people are standing, all the way to the back of the casino in lines. They close the line. The thing opens at 4 o'clock and runs till 9 o'clock. They closed the line when I went to check it at 5 o'clock. So people have been lining up since probably noon and continued to line up till 5 o'clock. They closed the line. I came back at 9 o'clock and there were still people, about 20 people left that were there at 5 o'clock that were still not in at quarter to 9. So I'll go buy my own lobster. You know what I mean?
I wanted to, the last time we spoke, we sort of always ask the same question here about the Virgin, because the Virgin is the old Hard Rock, and the Virgin Casino. Well, it's the Virgin Hotel, right? And Mohegan Sun operates their casino. Now, I haven't played there in a few years, but they're sending me offers now. It's interesting because they sent me an offer of $250 free play from the 1st to the 15th. And then from the 16th to the end of the month, another $250 plus 3 free nights. So that seems to be very generous. How are they doing there?
Same as before. They don't draw. And I mean, that's why they're promoting. And I mean, all these things they're joined at the hip. If the casinos that are doing very well right now are not promoting at all, and they're taking this posture and stance that they're not going to. Places that aren't doing well are promoting already. Mm-hmm. So, that's kind of a signal to you. If you get an offer that good, that's a good offer, man.
Yeah, it's a great offer.
It's a good reason. I haven't gotten a player's card yet and played there. And if they're taking that kind of stance, I'm gonna go do that and run, X number of dollars through a machine and see what they send me. So, it's a good strategy for people out there who've got a bankroll to play. You want to go into a new place, especially if you hear that they're hurting a little bit, and you want to give them some action. A place like the Sahara might qualify there as well.
Okay.
Now, we were just talking about the Palms, and if people aren't familiar, the Palms got bought out by a Native American tribe, the San Manuel tribe out of Southern California. Now, another tribal presence has come. The Seminoles from down here have bought the Mirage, and has that's officially changed hands, or
I don't think it's 100% official. It's going through process, and I do not believe it has quite changed. But but it's certainly going to happen. And, it's been okayed. Let's put it that way. It's been approved by the Gaming Control Board. I don't think that all the papers have been signed and, everything done. But there is information out that we put in the last Las Vegas Advisor that at least one prominent analyst thinks that they are going to close by the end of this year for a major conversion. And that they may stay closed throughout most of next year, like into 2024, potentially that long. It may be closed while they make these changes, because they're talking about getting rid of the volcano. They're talking about possibly knocking down, one of the hotel towers to build the guitar tower. So yeah, it's looking like they're probably going to shut down for a while there, but it's not official.
Now, the reason I'm excited about that is because you were talking about how great the games are at the Palms. The Seminoles down here, they have considering, because down in Florida, the tribal casinos are the only ones that can have class 3 gambling, like the blackjack. Nobody has craps or roulette, but all the blackjack, 3-card poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, all that. The Seminoles are the only people that can have it. So they're the only game in town. They got no competition. And I will give them credit. They don't do 6 to 5 blackjack. Every single game in the casino is 3 to 2, $50 and up tables. They stand on soft 17. So considering they're the only game in town and they have such good rules, I can't wait to see what they do in Vegas. I really hope that they bring the heat on everybody else and bring some very good rules to the Strip.
I hope so too. I mean, like, I'm fed up with what I see on the Strip. It pisses me off to see, what they're doing to the customers there. And I would love to see, I mean, San Manuel is doing it to some degree. It's not like their games are the greatest in the world, but they're better. And, if the Seminoles do this on the Strip, I hope they do. I hope they don't, get in step with everybody else. And I hope they, continue to do their business practices that have worked for them. And then that will levy pressure on the others. That's for sure.
I would love to see that. And one last question about the Mirage. Is the volcano still going? I know you were saying it was about to close the last time we spoke.
No, it's still going. It's still going. And there's petitions out to save the volcano and all this stuff. It ain't going to happen, but we still have not heard a closing date. We haven't said, I would think they're going to announce it. They're not just going to shut it off. I would think they're going to say, okay, the volcano stops erupting at X day. They haven't announced that yet. So still going.
I got a sort of a double question here I wanted to ask about. We haven't really spoken about Venetian Palazzo. I remember a long time ago, probably a year or so ago, I think they were going to be bought out by some private equity company. Did that ever happen?
Yeah, it did happen. And the Sands Corp, which, ran Venetian Palazzo, they're gone from Vegas. They're out. They're concentrating on their Asian, so their South Asian operations. They were pushing hard in Florida and they're pushing hard in Texas, 2 places that aren't going to happen anytime soon for them. But they are completely out of Vegas, and the Venetian and Palazzo are being run by the buyers, which was just some obscure group that has never run a casino before. Nothing's changed there either. That's what typically happens. The same people stay on, and they listen to them until they want to make a sea change, a big change at some point.
Well, one of the things that Venetian Palazzo did that I thought was great was they never charged for parking. So that's still in effect?
Yeah, that's still in effect. And, when you want to talk about these knock-on effects and what one can do to another, they're not charging for parking is what forced Wynn and Encore to revert, because Wynn and Encore jumped on the paid parking, truck when they started doing it at Caesars and MGM, and Venetian said, no, we're not doing it. And all the customers, said phooey on Wynn Encore, not all, but a significant number went to Venetian Palazzo. Those are the big players there that didn't want to pay for parking. And Wynn, changed their mind and they took paid parking out. So same thing, you get the Seminoles to come to the Mirage and put in some good games, and it might have an effect on the others around it.
Well, I assume that there haven't been any parking policy changes where MGM or Caesars are rethinking charging for parking?
No, they vacillate a little bit in what they do for locals. Like
Mhm.
in the beginning, I think MGM was giving only 1 hour free to locals, and Caesars was giving 3 hours free, and so MGM then changed to give 3 hours free to locals. But for the visitor, no. For the tourists, no. They're pounding them over the head as hard as they can.
Mhm.
Now, the Caesars news, we were talking the last time you and I did the interview, we were talking about this mystery property that they say they're going to sell. And I believe it was the night of our last interview. It seems to have been narrowed down to the Flamingo, it looks like. But
Yeah.
they're asking a god awful amount of money. They want $1 billion for it, which seems crazy to me. But I mean, I guess location, right?
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. I think that's just an opening salvo. You were right on that one, Matt. You took Flamingo, and I took
Planet Hollywood.
Planet Hollywood. And apparently, Planet Hollywood, they decided they wanted to keep because of the mall and all of that. So it looks like Flamingo's the one, and they're trying to peddle it. And I don't think they're going to get $1 billion for it. So I think that's just an opening negotiating point. But I haven't heard of anybody clamoring to get in there. So I don't know who the potential buyers are. Somebody will step up.
You hear that, Dad? Anthony said I was right.
You're right. Oh, I thought you were going to say, hear that, Dad? We can buy it for $1 billion.
No, not quite.
Oh, yeah, Matt, let's make an offer.
That would be great. You guys do it.
Yeah, sure. Now, there was an article I saw last week from Forbes magazine. It was titled, "Slot Machines Bring in Billions. So Why Are So Many Casinos Removing Them?" Did you happen to see that article?
I saw the article. I printed it out. I haven't read it yet because I think it's probably a bunch of BS. I think that the slot machines are coming, they continue to come. They continue to have their share of the casino floor. So I'll actually read it. What did it say that would?
I thought it was interesting, and it sort of made sense, because they said they're lessening the number of machines they put in a casino because it raises the average revenue per machine. So even though they cut down, people have fewer machines, so they just go to the other machines, and it increases the revenue on each individual machine. So it sort of made sense.
Yeah, that would make sense. And I mean, that's just, basic economics, that if, if you can do with 7 machines what you can do with 10, then you're going to go to 7. And if you go to 6 and you're doing less, then you're going to go back to 7. And then, once you hit capacity there, you're going to move up. So they might be saying they're just, again, I haven't read it, so I can't really speak authoritatively on it, but I would assume, they're just saying that they're taking a more analytical approach, and they're looking at the point that they may have overseeded some of their floors, and that they can save money if they're making the same amount with fewer. And that would make sense. But
I tried to read that this morning, but it was stuck behind a paywall.
Well, there was an example in there, especially up in upstate New York, because I think those casinos are not doing as well as they thought they would be doing originally, because they were required to have a certain number, and then they lobbied to get the law changed so they could have fewer, and they actually did better when they got fewer. So that was the gist of the story.
Yeah, when I saw that headline, I thought, well, if they're saying the slot machines are going to be replaced, that they're replacing slots with table games or something, I was going to say,
no.
right, unless you're in Macau or something like that, and they're putting baccarat games there, that doesn't make any sense at all. So what you say makes sense.
And now I saw, the last time we were talking about when we spoke about the sale of Flamingo and everything that was changing hands on the Strip. You had mentioned I think it was, you had said that one of the Fertitta brothers, or however you say their name, was Fertitta. I saw that an article today that said there was a $12.8 million land sale on the Strip, and it was a mystery buyer. It was right across the street from the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. Is that the one that you were talking about, where the guy from the Golden Nugget's gonna buy it, or no?
No, that was a different purchase. The Golden Nugget purchase is more toward the center of the Strip, kind of across from Cosmo. And
I think it was those little stores, right?
Yeah, where these people who are familiar, they'll remember the Harley Davidson Cafe used to be right there. And that's essentially that parcel. That's going to be Tillman Fertitta is going to build something there eventually. Down the road, down Harmon, that's on Harmon, and then further down Harmon East, the F Formula One group that is running the race bought a big parcel.
I saw they bought a huge amount.
Yeah, and that's where they were going to put up a W resort, and then they were going to put up a place called Las Ramblas. that was headed by George Clooney, a consortium
Hmm.
there. So that one's been in play for a while, and that's going to happen. This new one is just brand new. Somebody bought like 2.25 acres
Yeah.
down on the south end of the strip, and nobody knows who they are or what they're going to do. It's probably not going to be a pop stand. I don't know, but they're going to put something up there.
Yeah, I saw the Florida Connection. There was a group based out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, right down the street from us that bought it. So I thought that was funny that there's always a Florida connection.
Yeah, there's more, there's been a lot of action on the strip, on the north side, same thing. Big parcel of land bought there by the Siegel Group that has all the extended stay motels here and so forth. So a lot of interesting things going on in Vegas. I just gonna wait to see what the fallout and the shakeout is once they hit this, this bad patch for the economy, which if inflation continues, it just almost has to happen.
Mm-hmm. Now here's one we never spoke about. Unfinished projects or finished projects were abandoned, the Fontainebleau. What's the status on that? Because that was a huge property.
Yeah, well, that's supposed to be full go.
Mhm.
That thing has changed hands a number of times. It was purchased again by the original builder, a guy out of New York, Sofer, I think the name is. And they claim it's full go, that they're putting it together and it's going to open toward the end of next year or the beginning of 24. And, that's the north end. With that, the Sphere, this new Siegel thing I just talked about, all the things that are happening there, and the possible all-net arena. That's another thing that I still don't think is ever going to happen. But I mean, it's hard to keep it straight. At the end of every year, Las Vegas Advisor newsletter publishes a big list of all the things that are in play. And this year, it's going to be a gigantic list. There's just a lot going on.
Whatever happened with, was it Lucky Dragon? That place opened and then closed pretty quickly. Is anything happening with that? Has anybody tried to do anything there or no?
Well, they turned it into just a non-gaming hotel. And that was
Okay.
purchased by the Ahern Group, which is, moving trucks and vans and things like that. And they've got a good Italian restaurant in there, and they got a hotel where you can, get a room, but they don't have gaming. And the big mistake they made there was they were trying to get the Asian clientele, and they weren't giving enough away. The Asian clientele goes to places like the Gold Coast, Palace Station, and they get treated real well. They get comped there, and that's what they expect. And they weren't getting the same sort of treatment at the Lucky Dragon. And after a while, they just couldn't get people through the doors.
What's the situation on shows there?
Show prices up. That's what they're doing. They just keep going up. But we're approaching a lot of them now about getting discounts, because they have put the prices so high that they almost have to discount. So I think if you keep your eyes open, if you want to go to a show, you should really look around and look for the discounts. I know you guys are doing some things. They can go to your website. They can go to lasvegasadvisor.com, and I think they're going to find ways to get in cheaper. But if you want to go pay retail, your average ticket price is $104 right now.
Wow. Now we have some coupons on our website. They're free. You can go to AmericanCasinoGuidebook.com and look in the upper right corner there. It says casino coupons. But also, if people want coupons for Las Vegas, they can go to your publication, Las Vegas Advisor newsletter, and you have a book that you call, what is it, the Member Rewards package?
Member Rewards book, which they can also buy through you. I mean,
Mhm.
they can buy it at your website as well.
Mhm.
And we continue to fight the good fight there. We fight the good fight. We go after these things. What's different about ours, I think, is the gambling coupons that we get. We've always been able to get a lot of good match play gambling coupons. So people are into that. That's where you want to buy our book. Although we have a lot of the others as well. And again, I'm on your show. I plug yours. You guys got free ones as well, and people should check them all out as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's, you can get a lot of value, even if you're paying for it. That there's, you can recover it easily in the gambling coupons that you offer in yours.
Well, people can, they don't know how many hours I spend working on that newsletter.
I know.
Holy mackerel, boy! I tell you, I spend, I don't know, 100 hours easy putting that thing together. That's 100 hours.
Sure.
So
I'd say about half your gray hair probably comes from that.
half. What do you mean half?
What about buffets? Are there any more buffets? I think we've sort of maxed out on the buffets, I think, right? Nobody else is, because a lot of them sort of were looking for a reason to cut back on them, I feel.
Yeah, you know what? Every once in a while, you see something happen, like the buffet at House of Blues, the gospel buffet. That pops up out of nowhere, and they're not doing it every Sunday. They're doing it one Sunday a month. So you see them, a little, another one is Westgate that kind of comes and goes. But for the most part, there's really 12 buffets now. Westgate not being one of them. We don't count them because they're so sporadic. The 12th one being the Palms when it opened up. On the horizon, I don't see anything. Station is turning all of their things into food courts and coffee shops. So, you're not going to see those buffets come back there. Interestingly, Boyd did open Main Street Station, which is a little bit surprising, but I don't think you're going to see it at Fremont. You're not going to see it at any of their other places that had buffets, the Cannery or anything like that. So I think we're kind of stuck on 12 for a while. I still maintain that within the next couple of years, we'll probably get close to 20, but that's about as far as we're going to go, about half of what we had before the shutdown.
Now, we were reading something last week about Texas and Rancho are not going to open for another year or so. And are there any other casinos that are still closed?
No, those are the main ones. The two, the Texas Station and then the two Fiestas are the only main ones that are left. I saw something today that was news to me that Buffalo Bills at Prim, which had been closed since the beginning of all of this, has just recently reopened. So you're even seeing stuff like way out there, 40 miles away from Vegas. They got basically an extension of their gaming license to remain closed for another year at the Fiestas and Texas Station. And they're not going to reopen those until, things turn around to the point where they feel that they're not making enough money on the ones they already have open. So again, Station is they're very calculating in the way they do things. And I don't begrudge anybody making money in business, but they're going to do what's right for them. And you're not going to see those places open for a while.
Yeah, I saw they were approved. They got extension to stay closed through June 3rd, 2023. So that's a whole nother year.
Yep.
At least minimum.
Yep. And just think it ain't going to happen in those places for at least till then.
And now, speaking of back to changes on the Strip, I saw Circus said they're doing $30 million in renovations over there. What are your thoughts? Have they announced what they're going to do, or they just said how much they're going to spend? That could be great.
Well, they've actually been in process. They've been slowly but surely they've been putting money into that. And it was purchased by the owners of Treasure Island. That being Phil Ruffin. And the first thing they did was they did a lot of work on the Slots-a-Fun next door. And so, if you walk into Slots-a-Fun, you'll see some noticeable changes. Circus, I haven't been in there in a while, so I haven't seen exactly what they've done, but these supposedly have been ongoing renovations there. I don't think we're going to see anything gigantically different there, but that place needed a little bit of spit and polish, and I think that that's what they've been applying. I don't know. I've got to go take a look. I got to stick my nose in there.
Now, before we get to my dad's favorite question, I have one more question. I saw that your friends over at Circa, I know you like Circa, they re-released Vegas Vicky as an NFT, which I'm not a fan of NFTs. Do you think there's going to be more wacky stuff going on in Vegas with all these NFTs and the metaverse and all this foolishness? Or
yeah, I think it's inevitable. And I think the metaverse, which is just going to be, essentially playing casinos from home, it's the virtual world and all of that. I think that it's inevitable that this is going to happen. This is, the way we're going with the technology and all. The NFTs, I don't know that much about it. It's a hard one to get your head around. And I know that everyone's sticking their toe in the pool. They're doing that for sure. They're sticking their toe in the pool to see if it's something that they can make money on. And if they can, we're going to see more of it. I know that those two things, the metaverse, NFTs, they're all kind of joined. But the metaverse, I think, is something we're gonna see for sure. How far the NFTs go, we'll have to wait and see. I ain't buying any. I'll tell you that.
That makes two of us.
Well, I'm not buying any either. Okay.
All right, three of us.
So, all right, I'm ready to answer the last question. As always, we end up with this question. I need an update on the Msg Sphere. Now, people don't know what the Msg Sphere is. I'm always fascinated by this thing. MSG is Madison Square Garden, and they partnered with the Venetian Palazzo, is it? And they're creating this giant sphere that is housing, I guess, stage shows, entertainment, concerts. So it's a big entertainment venue, and they've been working on it for what, like 4 years, and the price keeps going higher and higher. The last we spoke, it was $1.6 billion for an entertainment center. So what's the latest on that? Is it more expensive? Is it close to being finished? What do you got?
Well, they topped it off.
Oh, all right.
That was the news, is that they basically closed the outside structure and now they're working on the inside. Actually, the last price I saw, the last cost I saw, it made me think of you, was 1.4.
Oh, it went
So
down.
maybe they found some cost cuttings or something, or maybe it was just an errant report, but it's somewhere around there, 1.5 billion, somewhere in that area. Now, apparently all the work is being done on the inside. It looks cool from the outside. It's like all shiny. It looks like a, you know, some kind of a outside of an animal with like a fish with their scales or something. You know, I mean, it's just it's really shiny and it's kind of cool. But I guess inside, they say that there's just nothing ever been like it in terms of the acoustics and what's going to be happening. They're saying that they can target sound just as if you were wearing earphones, headphones, and you don't need headphones. They can, you know, for instance, let's say they've got a comedian and you're Japanese or you're Russian or whatever, you can dial in what language and it will be, you know, translated for you and come directly to you in your native language without wearing headphones. I find that hard to believe,
Wow.
but that's the way they're touting it right now. So that's, you know, the work goes on and they claim it'll be ready, you know, early 24, I guess.
Oh, still over a year and a half.
I think so.
Wow.
I think either late 23 or early 24.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, but it looks
Yeah.
cool. Actually, you know what? They're saying they would like more like early 23 because they're saying they wanted to coordinate with the first Formula One because the Formula One is going to run right around it and they want it to be open for some reason. I don't know why that makes a difference. But so they're shooting for, I think that's November of 23. So I think that's the go date as of right now.
Still late next year. Huh. Okay.
All right, Anthony Curtis, thank you very much for joining us. As always, if people want to learn more about you and everything that you guys do, where can they do that?
Well, LasVegasAdvisor.com for sure. And that'll link you to all the other things we do. Of course, we do our YouTube channel now, not as big as yours, but we keep
You're
growing
getting there. You're getting there. You're plugging along.
The things we talk about are the things we're talking about here, but just in more detail. You know, we get more into it. You guys kind of get the summary. We do weekly updates. We talk about, you know, more in depth of what's going on. And we recently did a walking tour of the Palms, and we're going to release that in a couple of days. So just Las Vegas Advisor on YouTube.
Yeah, if you want to, we'll put a link to their channel in the description. So if you haven't subscribed to their YouTube channel, look in the description for a link and go subscribe to them.
Cool. Thank you.
You bet.
All right. As always, Anthony Curtis, thanks very much for spending time with us today. And we look forward to doing some more of these in the future.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.